morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you guys are. Thank you for coming back. Appreciate the support of watching, or even if you're not supporting, or you're supporting by watching anyway. So I just wanted to quickly do a rundown. We've got a few cars that we're pretty much wrapped up almost doing, which is exciting because space around here is quite small and it's actually borderline really frustrating. So that out of the way, you guys might have noticed, might have not noticed, but we had a different banner for this year's Matsuri. I mean, it was bring back the unity, your Gronk, essentially. So just wanted to kind of talk about it for a second, why that is. So for basically the last, since we've started the AU house, it's been quite an interesting battle in terms of Falcons in the drift scene and the stigma behind it. So I obviously started in JDM cars, many of you know that. I've got Laurel, we've got Skylines, all that stuff. Our vision basically was not something that happened straight away. Like, my vision mainly was to get people out into the track for as cheap as possible to have fun, because I love drifting and I don't like wasting money on things I don't necessarily need, which was something that's always in the drift scene, where people buying stuff they don't even know why they're buying it, but they bought it anyway because it was advertised, and why not. So that was the whole thing with the AUs. So being where the AUs are at now, which is really great, but when we started here in Queensland, everyone was like, what the heck do you think you're doing bringing an AU Falcon to the track? So it was kind of a bit of a like shove in the face a little bit when it comes to that, because the amount of pushing we've had to do to get people, and like now there's still a lot of people, like the whole ego thing is like, nah, you know, Falcon doesn't belong out here, but it kind of does, because it's the thing that's readily available here. In Japan, Laurel, Cephis, they were the junk cars. JZXs, like Toyota Crowns, Chasers, they were the junk cars. Like, they're obviously, I like them personally, so there's no issue there, but they were the car that, it was there, you bought it, you skidded it, that was fine. It was the cheap car. Like, that's what the AU has essentially become, sitting back there. And it was interesting when that all started, because there's so many people I know in the JDM scene, and just kind of just put a big like, nah, don't want nothing to do with you kind of thing. Really weird, I thought. I was like, here we are, a car community, like, why are we separating? So the whole unity thing, really with that, was always something I'm like, all right, how do we get people to get out on the track, meet people? You know, being someone who, you know, I was an up and coming driver for a long time, and there was always a lot of stigmas, like, you're that level 2 guy, you know, pro guys don't talk to the level 2 guys. I'm not saying all the guys were that, but there was a few guys out there that were like that, and that kind of butthurt me to a point where I was like, we need to do a difference. There has to be a difference about this. So the Falcons came along. It actually took quite a while before I even got the Falcon. Kind of went through all the things. I'm like, all right, will this even work? You know, there's a whole gears, stud pattern, suspension. You know, I went off the basis of, all right, we're not doing coilovers, nothing, bare minimum. Let's get out there, weld the diff, cut the springs, modify the knuckles, let's go. And well, that's pretty much, apart from a few more things like coolers, surge tanks, stuff like that, excuse me, that's pretty much how it is. So I'm really glad with that, and kind of something that we finally have overcome kind of a lot of that at the track. So if you're in a Falcon now drifting at the track and you're like, this is awesome, why did it happen earlier? Well, if we go back like 3 years ago, there wasn't Falcons out there because you were not cool. Like, if you rolled up, you were not accepted in a Falcon, particularly in Queensland. I don't fully know how it was down south, like Sydney and stuff like that. One of the things that actually Luke Fink, he was the one who's like, keep the Falcon, because I was like, nah, I'm done. I'm like, you know, it was fully built. I had Dazar, which is the silver card, the Mount Gambier video. So when I did Mount Gambier back in 2018, I think it was, I was like, nah, like, I think it was 2017, one of the two. And I went down there and actually driving with the guys down there, like Nathan Greenhill, those guys, Ben Snell, Jackson Snell, you guys, like, up here, it was like, don't you bring a Falcon to the track. And then down there I was like, here we go, like, why am I towing a Falcon this far across Australia and I'm just going to get laughed at? And everyone just drove with me. There was no like, oh, you're on a Falcon. Nah, it was like, you're here to drift, let's drift. And so that was sick. So that obviously took a bit of a turn as well. So obviously down there it kind of blew up as well, the whole video, the Mount Gambier video with me and Pat, the Maroon AU. Like, I never thought that would even happen. So I'm kind of like, what the heck? So but I still was going to sell the car. I was like, that's not enough, man. I'm like, nah. And Luke convinced me, and I had a bloke here to come and have a look at the car, and he just never showed up to even pick it up. So I kind of was like, you know what? Stuff it. I'm just going to do the series. And it was on my mind for a long, long time. I'm like, do I do Falcons? Do I do Falcons? And look, eventually, after about 2-3 months of sleeping on it and arguing with myself, I was like, you know what? I'll do it. So I roll up to round 3 that year at Archie in the DCA series, and it was on. So that's like out of nowhere, AU House appeared, but in here it was brewing for a long, long time, and I'm like, oh, do we do it? Do we do it? So this brings us to where we're at now, and I want to connect basically all the teams in Australia, because there's still a lot of people that, like, they don't talk to each other. Certain like JDM guys don't talk to certain JDM guys, and then, you know, it's weird. Like, I get along with everyone, but there's still this weird stigma of like, you're on a Falcon, don't park near me, don't drive near me. So that is what Bring Back the Unity is about, and your Gronk is, well, don't be a Gronk, bring back the unity. So that is what this is. That's my heart for it. So a few guys that I've bought stuff off, and just to connect. So I've gone out, so Team Basic boys, I've known the boys for years. So naturally, Michael Ginn, Dory Junkie, awesome bloke. Actually started in Falcons, and now he's doing Japanese cars. I've just gone the opposite way. And then Toge, they're local to me, so something that I'm, you know, going to support. Got a few more guys that I want to, you know, support as well. And hardtune.net. So many people don't know this, but actually in, I think it was 2013, Loz from hardtune.net, he actually sponsored me for the year. He actually paid all my entry fees that year, which was awesome, but we just never got the livery done on the Laurel. So Loz, if you're watching, thanks again for that. It was actually really cool. Humbling moment, like when you don't send out and talk to anyone, you know, to try and get sponsors and stuff like that. It's kind of hard because everyone's like, oh, go out, message this person, get a sponsorship thing. And it was really kind of, I had 3 people came along that year and just were like, hey, we want to do something for you. So that was really cool. So hardtune.net, bring back the unity, support. Like, this community is quite small when it comes to it. Like, having a lot of friends and people I know that are not in this like the car community really have no idea. So when you're like, I'll be talking about something and they've got no idea, none. So it's a small community. We all need to support each other, bring back drifting in Australia properly. Like, we have to talk with each other, and you've got to find some common ground. I mean, I don't like certain cars, but you know what? If you're out driving, just drive. So also, Shorty, I think it's time for a Falcon. I don't need to convince Michael because he's got something in the works. But yeah, I really hope you guys kind of get my heart for it. And also at the end of this little segment here, I'll do a little bit update. But basically, we've got a bunch of work happening on the Crown. Lots of suspension happening there. The 2JZ Corona is almost done. So radiator and all that stuff took for a long time, forever basically is what I'm trying to say. So that's back. So, and 31, we've got parts for it and it's coming together. So that's been a long, long time too. All right, guys. So with the Crown, so we've actually got it up on the jack. There's a little piece down here that we had problems with. So anyway, she's got new bushes. The guys from actually Hard Race have really hooked Nick up with basically all the arms, so, and a high cast elite. So those of you know this Crown here, that has the same rear end. I can't remember fully on the front end, but the same rear end as the GS300. So it actually has a high cast rear delete now in there. So you, as you trail in, high cast delete, the crossbar, so cradle out, camber arm on the back. Just need to decide what we're going to do in the bottom there. Now the front as well, it's got different uprights and it's got camber top arms as well. So that is that. So it's coming along. So it's taken a bit of a time, but this car actually was, I'm pretty sure, was brought in by Dory Junkie many years ago. So it's actually such a sick car, but it was a bit neglected. Coming over to the Corona, the 2J is in. Basic Fab did the headers for us, so Shorty did those, so they look awesome. Basic inlet pipe almost done. Basically we've got the intake pipe to finish sorting out, a fan, and Alan from Autospark Evolution, who wired the car, just needs to go over a couple little things, bit of a tidy up of the fuse box and that. However, she drives, goes quite well. Hopefully the limp mode thing, because this engine came out of a GS300 Lexus, it's an auto ECU, so hopefully that doesn't cause us dramas essentially. So if that does, then we'd potentially need to go to a Link ECU or a Haltech, something like that. So actually one of the things we did have to do, and I thought I'd tell you, is we had to put a radiant fuel rail in because they don't have a return. We could have possibly just drilled the rail, but that looks nice, and if he ever decides he wants to go hectic, he can go hectic. So it does have an AdRad radiator in the front. Yeah, nothing was cut, so because this car is a road car, none of this could be cut, so it needs to be all engineered. So still got the original like style gearbox, I think it's a W56, different bell housing, so that all bolted in, so that's quite nice. It's a good bit of gear. Obviously the original engine, the 22R, just not enough puff. Like it did alright, but it's not enough puff, so that's gone. So it's been here for far too long. With COVID and all that stuff, it just took that much harder to find the simple of parts. Like a bell housing was actually quite hard to find. Pre-COVID, everywhere, no one wanted them, but all of a sudden everyone was like, nah, I want to keep my stuff. So that has made it harder, but it's also great. So it's almost done, and I'm just gonna check the 31. Alrighty, so now that we have got a turbo again, and we got the Rajab inlet manifold back again, it's coming to completion. It's obviously taken far too long because obviously we had to wait for parts again, but it's alright, we will recover. So, and we're recovering. So put turbs back, hyper gear, thank you Teo again. Got Petey to put this on, so this is away so it doesn't melt. And notice any of our piping we do, we never put in elbows unless it's really like you can't do anything else. Ideally, if you're doing new core piping, no elbows, you do just straight, so you can never really be stranded. Godzilla Motorsports supplied us this bad boy. We've got a GK Tech fan coming, obviously the Rajab top inlet plenum, so to keep as much torque as possible on this dog. AU Falcon throttle body, so just waiting for Alan from Autospark Evolution to come and basically confirm that that's going to be fine. So we'll see. But other than that, she's almost there. We've got some fittings. These are a certain part number to fit these, so you don't actually need to weld them, so that's kind of cool. And then I think a fuel reg, and so there's already a surge tank in the car, so that was fine because it was already turboed previously. And then I think the screamer pipe, I'm going to run that bad boy down from here all the way straight down to do the poppy flames at the bottom. So, and obviously the bonnet, it will be, like we mentioned in the vid before, it'll be out the bonnet. So Ian's doing a special cutout for it and thing, so I'm not cutting bonnet stuff. That's his job, but it's coming together. So that's exciting. It's taken far too long, but I'm keen to get some space in the shop so we can get our other projects done out the way. So thank you for watching, guys. We'll catch you next week. See you soon.